Hello friends, welcome into NFL Daily. I am Tom Downey. On today's video, you know what it is, NFL Combine winners and losers from day 2. That is the running backs and the offensive linemen. Before we break down some of my winners, who here loves the NFL draft? If you do, show me you do by typing in me in the comment section, because I'm what they call an addict at this level. All right, get your me's in while we talk about the running backs. The winners, maybe one of the biggest ones so far of the entire draft process, with, of course, more days still to come. Breece Hall at Iowa State. I was wildly impressed by what he has done so far. Hall's production at Iowa State was beyond reproach. But there were some questions of just how fast is the 222 then listed pound running back going to go? I don't think people thought he was going to run a 4.6, but could he break 4.5? He broke 4.4. 4.39 in the 40-yard dash at 217 pounds, a 40-inch vert, a 10-plus foot broad jump. This is what we call the relative athletic scores. Again, shout out at MathBomb, Kent Lee Platt on Twitter. It factors in the testing that matters more for different positions and, of course, the size. Breece Hall at his size, absolutely incredible production. Now, one of the top contenders for RB1 alongside Breece Hall was Kenneth Walker out of Michigan State. And we'll talk about the unofficial times and whatnot. Kenneth Walker checked in sub 4.5. That was awesome unofficially. Well, then the official times came out, and it was sub 4.4 as well. 4.38 for Kenneth Walker. Not quite as great on the explosion, the vert jumps, or the vert and the broad jumps, but a 4.38 at 211 pounds was immensely impressive testing out of Kenneth Walker. Coming into the combine, for me, Walker, Breece Hall, Isaiah Spiller, not in that order, were all closely tight together in terms of who would be RB1. They both had second-round film grades from me with varying different concerns and strengths and whatnot. Oh, by the way, Walker, he looked great, or at least good enough, catching the football during drills. That was a big question mark for me. He answered that at least at some level during the combine, but of course didn't have the same pass-catching production. But Walker and Hall wowed. Isaiah Spiller, well, we'll get to him later on in today's video. So who do you think is RB1 this year? Let me know in the comments section. I will make this the pinned comment on today's video. So if the ad break comes on YouTube, take advantage of it. Head down there and let me know. I want to shout out some other top testers at running back. Both Georgia players, Zamir White and James Cook, looked awesome. Devontae Price at FIU tested quite well. Keontae Ingram had himself a nice day for a bigger back. Ty Chandler was actually a bit surprised he checked in as fast and athletic as he did. Other guys, Tyler Goodson and plenty more had good days. Overall, a pretty good group of testers this year at the running back position. And then one of the biggest surprises was Pierre Strong. He was the tackle-breaking machine for South Dakota State. Checked in above 200 pounds, and he was flying too. All three of these backs checked in sub 4.4 40-yard dashes. For these small school players, being able to test well shows you will have a potentially easier acclimation period. Like if you're a small school guy and you don't test well, that's going to ding you in the eyes of NFL teams. Strong tested incredibly well. So we're going to get to the offensive lineman here in just a second. But I want you to name an NFL Combine winner from day 2. What of the day 2 offensive linemen impressed you, or running backs, impressed you guys the most? Drop a name or names if you got multiple for me in there right now in the comments section. Let's talk some of the offensive linemen here. First up, Trevor Penning. The expectation was that he was going to test really well out of Northern Iowa. And that is exactly what ended up happening. At 6'7", 325, Trevor Penning checked in with a sub 4.9 40-yard dash. This is like Colton Miller type of athletic testing, if not beyond it from that perspective. So very impressed by Trevor Penning. I would be surprised if he does not go top 15 in this year's NFL draft. Good news, everyone! You can now watch NFL Daily on Rumble as well, another video platform, also free, by the way. Go support us at rumble.com/NFL Daily. Not nearly the level of censorship you might get on YouTube, so maybe you catch some videos that have me dropping a bit more F-bombs than what I normally would here on the YouTube channel for Chat Sports. We'll still be posting here, don't worry, but it's on both of them. Rumble.com/NFL Daily. More tackles here. Abraham Lucas out of Washington State. Again, we're looking for combine winners. We don't know the medical or the testing really, or the interviews, but the testing still matters. And a 5-flat 40 at 6'6", 315, that's good stuff. His arms checked in, by the way, just barely under 34 inches. Good news on that front. And great agility numbers. Not that many people actually doing the agility drills, but Lucas did that with pretty solid results. Arizona State's Kellen Diesch next up here, and he tested, well, he's on the winner's side, really well. Now, he's not the biggest guy. He's still a little bit thin. He's almost 6'7", 301 pounds. So he's not the biggest guy in terms of the frame. You want to add some more bulk there. But, again, a 4.89, which, to put that in perspective, that's why it's so nutty, right? When Trevor Penning at 325 runs the same 40 as Kellen Diesch at 301, that's why we use relative athletic scores, because add 25 pounds to you, you're not going to run as fast. That's how crazy Penning's numbers were. The arm length is an issue. That's sub 32 and a half. It's not going to be ideal. That is going to raise some red flags, but we knew he was going to have short arms coming into today. I think he should be a top 100 pick with that level of athletic ability. Potential number 1 pick, Ikem Ekwonu out of NC State, was pretty good. I would say maybe great, not elite production out of Ekwonu, but overall, it's still really good stuff. And I thought he looked fluid in the drills, by the way. He didn't, if he had put up Trevor Penning production, they'd be like, oh my God, you have to take this guy number 1 overall. Still great, right? 8.26 on the relative athletic score. Green is good. That's what you want, right? Or maybe great from that perspective. Not quite 9s, not quite 10s, which are very difficult to get to. Factors in all the players who have done this over the years. Not the biggest guy at 6'4". Got a little more of a guard build with 34-inch arms, and he's a really, really strong athlete. If you take Ikem Ekwonu number 1 overall, I wouldn't be mad at it. He is a top 4 player for me in this year's class. It's a top 5 player in this year's class. I haven't quite sorted them all out, but there's a big 5 for me. Who do you think will be the number 1 pick this year? Is it Ekwonu, Evan Neal, who did not test, so I didn't put him on here, but he looks stupid good for his size? Or is it one of the edges who will be testing today? Aiden Hutchinson, Kayvon Thibodeau. Drop a name for me in the comments right now. Nebraska's center/guard, maybe you can play some guard there. Cameron Jurgens tested great. This guy was hyped as like day 3 Tyler Linderbaum because he's not that big. He checked in at 303 and ran a 4.92. Again, imagine like you guys out there, maybe like 2 of you would be able to break 5 seconds in the 40-yard dash. Maybe. I'm not. Producer Jeff is not. And these are 300-pound people breaking 5 seconds, just to put that in perspective as to how freaky athletic they are. Few more offensive linemen. Sean Ryan next up here. Now, he could play tackle. I view him more as a guard, given the arm length and just his build at 6'4 and a half-ish, 321. He tested great for a guard. In fact, I think he tested passable or even good for a tackle. 5'2", at 321, really good explosion numbers as well, good agility. I think day 2, Sean Ryan as a guard, kind of like a mini Elijah Vera Tucker is what you could be getting out of him. A name that most certainly was not on my radar, Matt Waletzko out of North Dakota, not North Dakota State, just North Dakota, put up some of the best testing of any prospect this year. 36-inch arms, 6'8", 312, and ran a 5.03 with a 9.05 broad. Again, note on the relative athletic scores. This is based on all players in the database. So we're going back, decades here. 9.9 is unofficial, of course, here. This guy was not on my radar because I don't watch North Dakota football games. If you do watch North Dakota football games, you're probably a fan of North Dakota. Congrats. You got to draft this kid at some point. This level of athletic ability is absolutely freaky. One more interior offensive lineman, Zion Johnson out of Boston College. And the race for offensive guard number 1 is now up in the air. Johnson's not that tall. He's 6'2" and change. Call it 6'2" and a half. But his testing was awesome. 32 reps on the bench, some of the better numbers so far. Great vert, 32 inches, 904 on the broad. That's awesome for an interior offensive lineman. There are some questions. Could he play tackle? Maybe. He did play some tackle at BC. I thought he was better at guard. If you're a team in need for an interior offensive lineman, Cincinnati, I would strongly consider drafting Zion Johnson in the back end of round 1. I liked him a lot. He was going to be near my top 32. This has only made me feel better about that one. We will have more NFL Combine videos coming. The defensive linemen and linebackers are running today on Saturday. So Sunday morning, we'll break it down for you. The winners and the losers. I'm excited to see there's going to be some awesome testing today. I cannot wait to see it go down. In life, there are losers. Deal with it. Sometimes you don't test that great. So just because you're a combine loser does not mean I hate you as a prospect. In fact, several of the losers are some of my favorite prospects this year. Still going to draft them. Still think they're going to have good NFL careers, but they're going to have their draft stock maybe take a bit of a dip. Now, teams have thresholds. Teams will also consider going back and rewatching the film. But my first loser I will not apologize for. The NFL. What are you doing? The handling of the times and the coverage has been a disaster. You think about even to yesterday. Baylor's Tyquan Thornton runs an unofficial record-breaking 40-yard dash. Wasn't shown live. Why are you cutting away to commercial mid-drill? You got time in between. Why are you doing that? What is the purpose of this? Is just show all the drills? Why aren't you showing the agility? Show that stuff. Show the bench. Do it. Don't keep cutting away for Ian Rappaport talking about Aaron Rodgers for the 5th time. No. Show the drills. Show that stuff. Show the testing. And your unofficial 40-yard dash times are ass. They're terrible. They are so wrong. Every single one is just wildly off base. They do hand times for this. Why? Just get the unofficial timed tagged right into it. What you have the electronic one. Use that. I don't get it. It's so poorly done for a league that normally does this type of stuff really well. It's been a disaster so far. Let's talk now players. That is Isaiah Spiller. This one hurts me because Spiller was actually my number 1 back entering, narrowly I should say, entering the 2022 NFL Combine. I thought he had pretty good speed. Now I wanted to see it. I wanted to see just how well he ended up running. But he didn't do any of that. And Spiller didn't test well in the vert and broad jump. So now I got to go back and go, okay, was I overly optimistic on Isaiah Spiller? Is there concern on the field in pads about that? He didn't answer those questions for me. And he was my number 1 back, narrowly ahead of Kenneth Walker and Breece Hall. And those guys tested incredibly well. Can't put Spiller number 1 anymore. Kyren Williams was also in my top 5, and I'm not out on either of these guys. I'm going to trust my eyes in the film. Kyren Williams had a horrible day. Maybe he got up on the wrong side of the bed. Checks in small arms. Okay. 5'9", 194. Okay, that's not terrible. We expected he wasn't going to be the biggest player. We knew he was a smaller back, but he was so willing and so able in terms of his blitz pickup. And I saw some big plays on tape. There's pass catching value. I didn't think he was an elite athlete. He's a bad athlete, at least a bad tester of an athlete. 4.65 was one of the worst 40-yard dashes among running backs, and he did it under 200 pounds. And there was no explosion grades, and apparently the NFL didn't have any of the running backs do agility drills. All right, whatever. Or they didn't upload them. Who knows at this point? Kyren Williams, who I had as a top 5 back, and I have as my notes, he's the best third down back in the class. He did not test well. He might slide a little bit on draft day. So name a combine loser from day 2. You can be a hater as well. I don't hate your players, whatever team you're a fan, you're a team of. It's just where we're at. Sometimes people don't have good days. Now, if you want more Combine videos, hit me up on Twitter at whatgoingdowney. I'll be posting them throughout the night as the defensive ends and tackles and linebackers run their drills later tonight. Another one of my guys, Kenyon Green, tackle or guard out of Texas A&M. We mentioned how great Zion Johnson did. And Kenyon Green wasn't terrible. But to be a first-round pick, you don't want just above average. That's not what you're looking to be. The bench numbers were a surprise out of Kenyon Green. Only 20 for a guy who played with such great power at A&M. The agility was really rough, and it's so bad and no 3-count. I wonder if he actually pulled something, by the way. But the vert, the 40, those weren't great either. Big guy, big power player. I like him. He's going to be a divisive prospect. I know people who don't like Kenyon Green, but they're going to use this against him. Darian Kennard, as Daniel Falele refused to run. Fraud. As producer Jeff said. That producer Jeff just said fraud in my ear. No, I don't think he's a fraud, but I want to see him run. He's huge, right? Kennard has the size to play tackle. 35-inch arms. He's 6'5", 322. His athletic testing as a tackle is bad. 5'3", and by the way, Kennard cut a lot of weight to see if he could hold up and test better. Didn't work out that great. What I might do instead with him is put him over at guard, where his testing is much more palatable. There are thresholds for different positions for NFL teams. I think despite the size and the arm length to hold up at tackle, I wonder if Kennard will be better at guard in the NFL. One last name, Max Mitchell. I've seen him as high as a top 32 prospect on various people's boards, or at least was viewed as a top sleeper this year. The results for the Cajuns, the Raging Cajuns left tackle or tackle, not great. Big size, 6'6" and change, 307, but a 5'3", 40, not great agility, just okay explosion numbers there. A little bit disappointing overall for Mitchell, but he'll still be drafted probably day 2, at worst, I'd say, early day 3. Remember, folks, if you haven't already, hit that big red button and subscribe for more NFL Combine videos Sunday morning and Monday morning.